Hello, everybody. This is Zach at it again. I'm your host, Zach Cooley, and I am honored to be on the phone with one of my dearest friends in the world and one of my most favorite people on the planet. The Withville community, the Southwest Virginia community, knows her as one of the top physical therapists that our town has ever seen. I certainly know her as that, but I also know her as a great confidant, counselor, and friend. She has been the longtime pastor of the what is your church, Judy?
Well, I'm retired now, but I was in Pulaski at Mount Olivet and Trinity United Methodist Churches.
Oh, you are retired. Well, it's an honor to welcome Judy Yonce to the podcast. Thank you so much for talking to me today, my dear friend.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm always glad to help you if I can.
Well, and you have been a great help to me over the years. We go back until I was about 2 years old, when I was a patient of yours through the school system
Right.
as a physical therapist, and you have helped me with that and my cerebral palsy condition for all of my life, well into my adulthood. As I said, you were a great counselor and confidant to me as I was going through the issues of being depressed and growing and feeling helpless and hopeless and growing up alone. And then you celebrated with me 15 years ago when I met the love of my life, and we were married and have a beautiful daughter. And I could not have gotten through those years without you, my dear friend. So I'm very grateful for you in so many ways.
Well, thank you, Zach. It's been a pleasure.
Well, in terms of my medical condition, I have learned more from you about why I have chronic pain, why it is where it is, and what results from it, and the best ways to prevent that as much as possible. I've learned more through your warm and gentle explanations about my condition than through anyone else. And believe me, I've been through a myriad of therapists. When I went to interview you when you retired from physical therapy, my wife noted, she said you could just look at her hands, and she had the softest hands and spoke with such gentility that you really know she's somebody special. And all those things are certainly true of you. Now, you said you are retired from Mount Olivet. When did that in fact happen?
I retired 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
From that. Okay. So that would have been, you would have been there, what, about almost 25 years? 23 years, something like that?
Yes, that's right. I was there from 1999 to 2023, I believe.
Right. And then you retired from your physical therapy job somewhere around there too, right? Was that 2020?
Well, it was a couple of years before that, but I don't remember the date.
That's okay. I know I think it was about 2021, and I know you had been there many years, because you had mentioned you graduated in 1988, and I was working with you when you were still students. So that goes back at least almost 35 years, I would say.
Probably about right.
So,
and I still do what's called craniosacral therapy,
mm-hmm.
2 days a week at Shaper's Day Spa. Craniosacral therapy is used for pain Anything from migraines to falls to back injuries to just about any type of pain, craniosacral therapy will ease and help.
Yes. And what prompted you to want to continue that after your retirement? You must have had a particular affinity for that type of therapy.
Well, it's a manual, hands-on work, similar to massage, but still very different. Um, Debbie Clark, who was the physical therapist I worked under, I'm a physical therapy assistant,
Mm-hmm.
um, wanted someone to get interested and involved in manual therapy. And as I received my training while I worked with her, both in a private sector and through the hospital, um, I felt like it was somewhat of a calling. It relieved so many people's pain, and that was just important to me.
And you have cured so many headaches, backaches, neck aches that I've had in the last 40 years that I can attest that you are the best in the business.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
so, but we are here to discuss. Actually, I wanted to touch on that, but we're here to discuss. You were kind enough, or Latricia, your daughter, was kind enough to include me on the invitation list to your 50th anniversary party. You have been married for 50 years to Jerry Yonce, who is known as the legendary caterer of the log house, and his food I can attribute where I can attribute to you muscle aches. I can attribute to Jerry my weight gain. Uh, he is responsible for you were responsible for me growing vertically. Jerry is responsible for me growing horizontally. So
There you go.
he. I always say, in terms of cooks, there's Jerry and there's everybody else.
Oh, well, thank you.
There's nothing that man can't cook and cook well. Um, and both of you are just very dear, very good, very gentle and loving people. And I was proud to be, honored to be on that list of 150 guests that came to see you all on that day. Both of you looked so good. You were just so beautiful. You looked like a blushing bride that day.
Thank you.
Did you feel like a bride again on that day?
I don't know that you can go back and feel like a bride again. That's a special feeling, but
It
it was
is.
very special.
It is.
Knowing that God had blessed us with that many years was just a true something we wanted to share with our friends.
Okay. So this was a party that you knew about. This wasn't a surprise.
Yes,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Well, good. Good. What was the moment like when he sang to you? Because the crux of the afternoon was when he presented a song to you. So what was
Well, I was expecting a song, but I was expecting the song Each for the Other and Both for the Lord.
Uh
And
huh.
he started out with Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen.
Uh huh.
So that was a surprise.
Uh huh. And he
And
went.
then he said, "Oh, is that the wrong song?" And I said, "Yes, that's the wrong song." And he went into the
The,
old gray mare. She ain't what she used to be.
yeah.
But he did get around to singing to me. He had planned to do that, or he wanted to do that when we got married. And I was afraid that was a little too stressful. Um, Jerry is not a trained musician, but he has a beautiful voice, just as he's not a trained chef. But he's cooked most of his life, and his mother taught him a whole lot of what he knew, and he's just enjoyed sharing both those with the world.
Mm-hmm. But not enough of us knew that he was a singer. He kind of reserves that for church, and not a lot of people knew he could sing. So that was a lovely surprise for some of us.
Oh, well, that's good.
Uh,
He has a beautiful voice.
now I knew that you could sing because you motivated me to do my therapy with certain songs, and as you told your only grandson Josiah Gates, who is a wonderful young man that I have heard stories of him growing up all my life, and to finally meet him as a young adult was a real pleasure. And I know that you're proud of him because he is a very fine young man, very devoted to his grandparents.
Thank you. We're very proud of it.
And so I know so I know that you can sing. You told Josiah that my favorite color was red, and you bought red clothes because when you wore red, I seemed to work harder and do better. Um, so that's part of our history. But what you mentioned, Jerry's mother, that his mother, he got the ability to cook from his mother. There were three things that you shared with us at that anniversary party on June 1st at the beautiful Rocky Hollow Farm venue just outside of Wytheville. Um, there were three conditions that you placed on Jerry before you agreed to marry him. Can you elaborate on what those are?
Well, the first one was if he wanted a girl like the girl that married dear old Dad,
Mm-hmm.
he needed to keep hunting because, first of all, I didn't plan on having 12 children. His mom and her mother as well both had 12 children.
Wow.
Both of them had 8 boys and 4 girls. That was not a history that I wanted to
repeat.
And I couldn't keep up with his mom. His mom, even back then, was a very hard-working, industrious woman, and I just didn't have the energy level she did. She's certainly someone we miss greatly today. The next thing, let's see if I can remember these. I told him that I wanted to be number one.
Right.
After God, I wanted to come first in his life. I wanted him to have time with his friends and his family and to do things with them. I wasn't trying to exclude other people from his life, but that if it came down to a choice, I wanted to know that after God, I came first. Mm-hmm. And he's always been good about that. And in listening, he'll say we don't fight, and that's because he won't fight with me.
Right.
He walks away. But he always listens to my side. Now, we certainly consider him the head of our household, and if it comes down to a decision, the last word is his. But he always listens and hears what I have to say, and that was very important to me. Mm-hmm. Now, let's see. What's the third one?
The third one was that if he no longer loved you,
oh yes,
you needed to be the first to know that, because if you found out that he cheated on you, and you were determined to make his life a living hell. So obviously,
that's right. I think that's a sign of respect.
Right.
And every marriage should go into that. If you decide you're not in love with someone, you should very readily tell the person you're married to first before you act on it in any way. Mm-hmm. It happens. People do fall out of love.
It certainly does.
You need out of respect for the fact that they loved you enough to marry you at one time, that I was going to be the future mother of his children, and I wanted him to know that I expected that. And if he told me, then I would let him go, and I'd deal with my own emotions and my own fallout
Mm-hmm.
But if he didn't, it was going to be rough on him as long as I lived.
Right, right. And obviously, he adhered to all of these guidelines and more because
Yes.
the two of you could not have looked happier on that day celebrating 50 years together.
Well, he told me before we married that being married to him would never be as hard as dating him was. And truly, our dating history was on again, off again. But he has been steadfast and true as a husband. And um, honestly, he's taught me a lot about the meaning of God's love just in how steadfast and caring he has been through the years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can relate to what Jerry said that dating and being married are two different things. Now, I don't. Emily was my very first date when I was 25 years old. We had our first date in April, and just because I was naturally going to be husband material. I wanted to be married. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have a family, to be a husband, to be the protector. I could definitely do that. But the dating thing, to be a boyfriend, it just never, it didn't even seem right in the 3 months that we did date. Call each other boyfriend and girlfriend. It's just a different thing. There's a lot of kind of petty drama attached to those kinds of things that Emily and I were 24 and 25. We just didn't have time for that. And the things that we faced since we've been married, I see why we didn't waste time on that, because we had much bigger fish to fry once we were married. So I know what he means by that. It just, you know, there's just a lot of, um, you know, I don't deal with a lot of mess very well. I'm very concrete, very black and white, and
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like that's the way you and Jerry were.
I think so. We've always tried to be honest with one another. I won't say we've had a perfect marriage. I think
No one
that's
does.
that's not possible in a world where sin reigns. But
Right.
uh, by keeping God first in our lives and doing our very best to be children of God and love not only God but each other in that kind of pure way as best we could in our with our old sinful natures, has been truly a blessing for both of us.
And you've been very generous in talking about what Jerry has given you in the last half century. What kind of things do you think you have taught him?
Wow. Probably the best one is being on time.
I think I did that for Emily too.
uh, wow, what have I taught Jerry? Um, hmm, I hadn't really thought too much about that. uh,
And here I thought you'd be ready with that answer.
I know with our children, one of the things that I encouraged him was if you say no, mean no, and hold fast to that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not really sure, then it's okay to tell him it's yes. But a lot of times the children would try to talk him into things and change his mind. And I'm like, you can't vacillate with children. They need you to be concrete. Let your yes be yes and your nay be nay, and don't let them manipulate you. Um, and I think as a parent, that's one of the most important things we do.
Right. And it is very different with Daddy and his girls.
Yes, it is. You know
Bec-
that.
because well, me, I'm more the concrete one, and
Mhm.
Emily, uh, she gets very quickly exasperated because when you have two people in the household that are as stubborn as I am,
Uh-oh.
the other one is going to get exasperated and she gets worn down. So with Bella, it's like, I know how you got to be this stubborn, so I can hang with you. But I think the key to that is just backing each other up. If one says no, the other one must go along with it unless they adamantly disagree. And, 9 times out of 10, Emily and I are in agreement. So I think the key is just backing each other up. You have so many parents in households today where one parent wants to be the friend and then one parent gets to be made out to be the heavy all the time, and that is doing no service to the child or the adult.
That's
And
true.
the key is backing each other up. And I think, as far as marriage is concerned, a key to I think a key to your all's success is that, and it's very easy to tell that you all are still in love with each other after 50 years. All you have to do is look at the picture that was included with the article, and you can tell that I wrote. And but I think the key also is not only to be lovers, but to be best friends. And it's very obvious that you and Jerry are best friends with one another.
Thank you. It's good to know that other people can see that, because I think that's a big part of our witness for God. That
Mm-hmm.
It takes God in your life to be that much in love after 50 years.
Yes.
And God is love,
Mm-hmm.
and we learn how to love in our walk with God. And truly, that's something that I think has made the biggest difference in our lives.